Right now, Republican governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, is under attack by the mainstream media in a way that is absolutely absurd, to say the least. 60 Minutes recently came out with a report about Ron DeSantis that really tore the guy apart, and in ways that really should not be if they are following the science, if they are actually paying attention to the numbers. Ron DeSantis is probably one of the leading Republicans, if not the leading governors in America right now, at the forefront of releasing the state, allowing it to continue with allowing Floridians to continue with their life as per the usual, basically getting them back to being Americans. And the mainstream media and the left, the Democrats, they don't like that. They really don't like that at all, and for several reasons. It's reasons that we're going to get into. But first, let's analyze the attacks on DeSantis from 60 Minutes. We'll start with this Fox News article. CBS 60 Minutes shames DeSantis for prioritizing seniors, and vaccine rollout suggests they weren't high risk. This is, even just right off the bat with this headline, you understand that this has gone way too far. The attacks on DeSantis seem even desperate, if you will. Again, we're going to get to why in a little bit, but let's read this. Let's dive in. The controversial 60 Minutes report targeting Florida Governor Ron DeSantis over a so-called, quote, pay-for-play vaccination scheme also knocked the Republican for prioritizing seniors in his state's COVID vaccine rollout. The CBS News program is facing intense backlash for deceptively editing an exchange DeSantis had with 60 Minutes correspondent Sharon Alfonsi regarding a narrative she pushed alleging the grocery store chain Publix was rewarded with vaccine distribution rights after contributing $100,000 to his campaign. We're going to get to that in a second, too. However, the report also appeared to condemn his decision to vaccinate the elderly in his state over younger frontline workers. Alfonsi went even further by casting doubt on DeSantis' reasoning behind that decision, which was that seniors were the most vulnerable to the virus. Florida's rollout started pretty typically. The first doses were given to healthcare workers and nursing home residents in early December, Alfonsi began. But then, a few weeks later, Governor Ron DeSantis, breaking from CDC guidelines, announced he would not vaccinate teachers and essential workers next, but instead put seniors first, making anyone 65 and over eligible for the vaccine, the first in the country to do that. DeSantis said seniors were at highest risk, she added, implying that it was an unsubstantiated claim made by the governor rather than following the science that showed a substantially larger death toll among Americans. Now, where does that number come from? Well, it comes from the CDC itself, and we can take a look at that right here. Risk for COVID-19 infections, hospitalization, and death by age group. Now, here we have the age groups right here, and here we have cases, here we have hospitalizations, here we have deaths. Now, if you look over in this side, the deaths get way more substantial as they get older, all right? 50 to 64, 440 times more likely. 65 to 74, 1,300 times more likely. It just gets worse and worse as time. 85 plus, 8,700 times more likely. Older people are clearly more at risk. This even from the CDC. This is clearly the case. Vaccinating elderly people as soon as humanly possible was the right move in order to save their lives. Okay? What 60 Minutes is trying to push here is trying to make it seem like it's an unsubstantiated claim that elderly people are more at risk to the coronavirus. That they're not. Like we need to make sure that certain people are prioritized over the others, but definitely not elderly people. According to this, the CDC does show 80% of coronavirus deaths have been among ages 65 and older, and 95% of them among those over the age of 50. The report went on to suggest DeSantis was to blame for having Florida's 4.5 million seniors compete against each other to get the vaccine, and for the state's health department phones lines failing and websites crashing. Later in the segment, Alfonsi confronted DeSantis at a March press conference over her allegation that Publix paid its way to get the vaccine first. Publix, as you know, donated $100,000 to your campaign. Alfonsi began in the clip, and then you rewarded them with the exclusive rights to distribute the vaccination in Palm Beach. Well, look, That's an entirely fake narrative. And it's absolutely ridiculous to say that. Why is it a fake narrative? Why Publix? Yes, did Publix give Ron DeSantis that money? Yeah, they did. They also gave Democrats money. They're known for giving money to both sides of the aisle. You won't see that in the 60-minute report, by the way. Just they want to focus on making DeSantis look like he is corrupt and incompetent. How is that not pay for play? Well, DeSantis answered that. That's a fake narrative, he replied. I met with the county mayor. I met with the administrator. I met with all the folks at Palm Beach County, and I said, here's some of the options. We can do more drive-through sites. We can give more to hospitals. We can do the Publix. And they said, we think that would be the easiest thing for our residents. Alfonsi then narrated that Palm Beach County Commissioner Melissa McKinley claimed DeSantis never met with her about the Publix deal. The criticism here is that it's pay for play, Governor Alfonsi continued to try to nail him to the wall with it. It's wrong. It's wrong. The governor shot back. It's a fake narrative. I just disabused you of that narrative. And you don't care about the facts because obviously I laid it out for you in a way that is irrefutable. The full response from DeSantis to Alfonsi's questions was mostly omitted from the on-air report, meaning that Ron DeSantis really explained in detail why he chose Publix. And it had nothing to do with the money that they gave him. They did it because it was the easiest and most effective way to roll out the vaccine for many of the residents in Florida. But 60 Minutes literally cut all of that out. They cut all of that out and only focused on the bit that made him look guilty. This is up at redstate.com right now. The deranged 60 Minutes hit piece on Ron DeSantis gives the game away. It's from Bonchi. Bonchi also kind of goes into this and kind of explains, really, why DeSantis decided that Publix was the best way to go about doing things. And you'll notice within the article, Jared Moskowitz, he's the director of the Florida Division of Emergency Management. He's a Democrat, served as one of the state legislature until 2019 and campaigned for Gore and Obama. He's not falling for this absolute garbage that 60 Minutes put out, neither should you, tweeted Charles C. Cook of the National Review. And Jared Moskowitz himself tweeted, 60 Minutes. I say this before and I'll say it again, Publix was recommended. And Healthy Florida, as other pharmacies, were not ready to start, but Publix was. Period. Full stop. No one from the governor's office suggested Publix. It's just absolute malarkey. Publix, and it was just the easiest way to roll out the vaccine for the people. They were ready to do it. They were everywhere. All right? They were prepared. And so they went with the most obvious choice. But 60 Minutes is trying to make it seem like, this is a benefit, that Publix was getting the benefit because they donated to Ron DeSantis heftily. That's not the case. That's not the case, but they don't want you to think about that. They just want you to see the money. Now, the question is, why? Why do they want to tear down Ron DeSantis so bad? Why are they going after him and even making it seem like he's going against the science when quite literally he is going with the science? Why are they trying to make him seem corrupt when there's really no corruption there at all? He's not really doing anything wrong. In fact, he's doing what's necessary to get the vaccine to the people as quickly as possible. It's because Ron DeSantis is making the right decisions for Florida. He is making it freer. He is opening it up, and his state is doing well as a result of it, not just economically, but when it comes to the virus itself, when it comes to vaccine rollouts, when it comes to infection rates. And the Democrat Party and the mainstream media who is obedient to the Democrat Party cannot have that because Ron DeSantis is right. Then governors like Andrew Cuomo are wrong. Governors like Gavin Newsom are wrong. And they are very wrong. You'll recall that right now it's being buried as much as possible, but Andrew Cuomo, 15,000 people died. Elderly people in New York died because of his policy decisions. His vaccine rollout has been one of the worst. Gavin Newsom locked his state down and crashed his state's economy so horribly, while he himself was out there ignoring his own lockdown measures. And people are wondering if, they're looking at Florida, they're seeing the economy, they're seeing the free people, and they're wondering, did we have to go through this? Right now, you'll notice that Democrats are trying to push further lockdown measures. They're trying to make it seem like we're not out of the woods despite all these vaccines going around. Rand Paul, not long ago, called Dr. Fauci out for this. You know, if we have vaccines, why are we still being forced to isolate and wear masks? It seems that the left wants to keep these lockdowns going. They want to keep the pressure on the American people. They want to grip tightly to this power. And Ron DeSantis is the antithesis to this narrative that the Democrats are pushing. He is proving that you can open up the state, you can roll out the vaccine just fine, and everything will be okay. People can be free. Kids can go back to school. Democrats are trying to make it seem like none of this can happen. They have to take this route where everything needs to be gripped tightly and controlled. And it needs to be all under their supervision, or else everything will fall apart in America and everyone is going to die. But that's not the case. Ron DeSantis is proving that to be a completely false narrative. This is why 60 Minutes attacked Ron DeSantis like they have. This is why Ron DeSantis is being made out to be this incompetent villain who is really into corruption. But he's really not. He's proving them wrong. If you really want to see how to run a state properly, Ron DeSantis has been the guiding star here. The Democrats can't stand it. The media can't stand it. They are going to do everything in their power to make him look bad. But he's not doing badly at all. In fact, is Florida doing better on coronavirus than locked down states? This is from the Tampa Bay Times, and they actually show how Florida compares on key coronavirus statistics to states with stricter requirements on business and residents. Looky here, Florida at the bottom. Florida right at the bottom. Minnesota at the top. All right, a lot of these, Michigan right here, okay? California right here. A lot of these people have tighter restrictions than Florida, but Florida seems to be doing the best. That is nightmarish to the left. It is nightmarish to the Democratic Party because it really does mean that Ron DeSantis, the Republican, not the man opposed to their party, okay? The Republican who is opening up his state has gotten it right. That is terrifying to their narrative. That is terrifying to their agenda. Oh well. I'll see you in the next video. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it or learned anything, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon so you're made aware when we upload new content. See you in the next video.